Spectres, welcome back to another new week of the Mass Effect Lorecast, where we're going to be starting a new sub-series of episodes. But before we get to that, I am your host, N7 the Legend, and joining me, as always, is my wonderful co-host, Jennasis. Jennasis, how are you doing?
Doing okay. Prepping up for something big happening on Friday. So whatever form of well wishes, good vibes, thoughts, prayers you can, please send them to me and my family. My daughter's going in for her 4th surgery on Friday, the 12th. So keep us in your thoughts.
She will come out, and I guarantee her first words will be, "Does anybody have something to eat?" 5 points if anyone got that.
She, that was some of her first words back, was asking for Taco Bell. So I am fully in agreement with that. I will love that if she asks me for food when she wakes up.
Oh man, Taco Bell too, a woman of culture. Okay, so you're going to be getting my prayers. I'm sure a lot of other people's as well. She's such a strong individual, and I know that she'll come out of it with even more chutzpah. So with that, let's get to our topic today, which is rooted in the lore, but we're kind of taking a fun sidestep from the lore for a little bit. Jennasis, we've been talking about launching a series of episodes based on what if scenarios, and kind of playing around with the idea of what if XYZ was changed in the lore. Looks like we may have lost connection. I think we did not lose connection, maybe.
It's weird because everything on my screen is frozen, but I can still hear you.
Okay, so you're basically a talking JPEG right now, but that's fine. We'll roll with it. But basically, we've been discussing about, what if we launched a series of episodes about what if XYZ was different. And so we figured we should start at the very beginning in Mass Effect 1 and tweak some things here and there. And we're going to start with this one, which was, what if Shepard never touched the beacon? You are back, by the way.
Yes, I am back. I have returned. And this one's such an interesting one because there's so many different layers and facets of things that it would change. Yeah, of course, there's some surface level stuff that you can talk about automatically, like, oh, Shepard never touched the beacon. It means that they're not going to be the ones that's going to figure out all the subplots and figure out, what all of the storyline means in one. But how does it affect the one who does touch it? How does that affect the rest of the relationships? How does that affect the rest of the way that the game is going to play out? There's a lot that we can dive into here.
Right. And, what if no one touches it? What if Saren did, because Saren canonically did before Shepard even got there? But anyway, these are all things that we're going to dive into in this episode. So let's start with the first thing that you brought up about if Shepard never touched the beacon, then Shepard never gets that vision. And that means that Shepard never has any understanding or even a feeling of doom, this vision that Shepard communicates to the Council about, there is something greater at play here. So we still have the same details about Saren has gone rogue. Saren's working with the Geth. We know that. Shepard can relay that. The Council trusts Shepard on that. Then we can basically find out that he's aboard what we perceive to be a Geth dreadnought, and that somehow there is a Prothean artifact involved. And so our understanding at that point is basically Saren is going around tearing up colonies alongside the Geth in search of Prothean artifacts. We don't know. Saren's gone rogue. You got to send me after him.
Yeah. I think that right out the gate, the Council would be even less trusting of the fact that these are Reaper attacks, that this is a Reaper coming. Because it's just some dude who touched the beacon. It's some chick who was already traumatized on that planet is now raving about the fact that it's a giant ancient alien species coming to attack us. Even as Shepard, I would feel like, okay, Ashley, maybe this isn't what you saw. I would start to doubt what Ashley saw in the vision because of the trauma she's already had on that planet.
Right. Yeah. How are we going to perceive it if we were not given the vision as the player? Like, the player never even sees it. But we're just expected to know that Ashley or Kaidan did. And all we see is Ashley or Kaidan kind of get lifted into the air, right? And then like have like a seizure, basically. So then we're expected to just kind of trust them, but we are still the commander. So that puts us in a very weird kind of difficult position where I feel like there is because it's a video game, you would probably be inclined to believe them. You know what I mean? But if it were real life, then there's always the possibility that they are just having hallucinations and seeing things. I think that they wouldn't bring it up to the council because the commander is the only one up for Spectre candidacy there. So all else the same, Shepard is still becoming a Spectre, still being evaluated to become a Spectre. I think that this would actually make things go smoother between Shepard and the council.
Because the Reapers weren't brought up in that initial contact where you're becoming a Spectre?
Yeah.
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah, and I feel like maybe that would give like setting off on that foot, especially given the history that Anderson had with the council and becoming a Spectre and Saren. Setting off on that foot may kind of set a different tone for the interactions that Shepard has with the council later, and perhaps even make the council more likely to trust Shepard's word when ultimately they get to Vermeer.
Yeah.
And they realize, oh shit, Ashley/Kaidan was right. Because we also have to think about, like, let's back up for a second, right? Like, Pharaohs. Does Shiala even know that Kaidan or Ashley had seen the beacon? What if he didn't bring them?
Oh. Wow. Okay. Yeah. I mean, why would Shiala give us the cipher? Why would she even bring it up? I mean, yeah, we would question Saren. We would question her about Saren, but then what would be the reasoning? And I mean, if Shepard tried to take on the cipher, then it would have no effect. Nothing would happen because we didn't get the beacon vision. Now, I see easily how they could put that into gameplay. Would be like, okay, now that we've settled this big fight, the not Therium,
Pharaohs?
what's the name of the creature?
Oh, the Thorian.
Thorian. There you go. Now that the Thorian is dead, all the squad mates can come and visit Shiala, and so therefore Ashley and Kaidan are there to make it for a gameplay way it could work out.
Speaking of Shiala, though, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't it Shiala that after she does the, the psychometry with Shepard and does the, embrace eternity, gives Shepard the cipher, after that, doesn't Shiala say, I'm surprised that you are basically alive? This would have broken a lesser mind?
Yes.
So what's to say that, had Kaidan or Ashley received the vision from the beacon without the same kind of Reaper tech that Saren had, what's to say that wouldn't have broken them the same way it broke Dr. Manuel Dr. Manuel just had the whispers. I don't even think that Dr. Manuel even touched the beacon. That was just from the indoctrination effect of Saren or Sovereign. So, could Kaidan or Ashley even function after that?
Ooh, that is a great question because Ashley, love her, but there's nothing truly special, you know? She's not a biotic. This is some of her first battlefront experience. She's not a hardened warrior who has built up like mental fortitude and things like that, like Shepard has. They haven't had a previous major trauma in their life that has allowed her to build these mental barriers. And we are told through Liara that Shepard is also naturally gifted in mental shielding. I don't think that Ashley has that. She doesn't have the same life experiences. She doesn't have this natural gift at mental shielding, but who knows if she would be able to handle this? And the fact that she's literally coming off of a near death experience. You know, she was being attacked by the Geth. Shepard steps in, saves her, and then within the course of another half hour or so, she's receiving this beacon vision. That could break her. And now Ashley's coming from a much different place. I could see that Ashley might not be able to handle it.
Well, do you think Caden could? I don't think Caden could. I feel like Caden, besides Brain Camp, has evidently lived a pretty like smooth life. You know what I mean? Minus the headaches.
Yes, the headaches. So along the same lines, I don't know where Caden's mental shields are at, and I don't know what it could do to him because he's already got temperamental biotics, and something being funneled directly into his brain could easily mess with that. It could make his headaches worse. It could trigger something in his implant that could malfunction. It could damage Caden permanently. On the other hand, though, we do have in-game lore that Caden unlocks more abilities after physically traumatic events. So maybe the beacon could have also opened up something for him.
Oh, yeah. Maybe he could become like a superhero after that. Who knows? Who knows? So, okay. So for the sake of argument, let's say that, you know, Ashley or Caden is not broken by this, but rather kind of becomes the plot armor that Shepard had in the original. So how would you feel playing through a game in which Shepard isn't the special boy, Shepard isn't the special girl, right? It's actually Ashley or Caden, and we're just kind of like a dude, and I mean dude gender neutrally because we're just like a dude who's helping them along, somewhat similar to the hero of Kavach and Martin Septim, right? Like Akatosh doesn't assume the hero of Kavach's body. It's Martin who's truly special.
Right. It would be very interesting to play through the game where we are the main character, but it's not necessarily our story. And I've played a few different games that are like that, where you're following along and it's somebody else's journey that you're helping them through. It's along the same lines of Sam and Frodo. Whose story is it really, you know?
Yeah.
And so it would be very interesting to play Mass Effect going through all of that, knowing that it's not really the story. Dave brings up a good point. Witcher 3 is like that too, because you play as Geralt, but it's really a story about Ciri. And so it would be interesting if we were playing as Shepard and it really is a story about Ashley or Caden.
So let's also talk about Liara, because Liara, it's because of the beacon that Liara becomes the writer's pet. You know what I mean? That's her entire anchor for importance right there at the very beginning, is that she can help translate the vision and then have that Southern Belle, oh my stars moment after that. So I feel like her ability to help Shepard make sense of the vision becomes completely irrelevant unless Ashley or Caden does receive the vision and is able to function after that, and Liara is also able to convince them to allow her to help them.
Oh, it also kind of would make the relationship between Liara and Shepard different, because the mind meld kind of is the basis for strengthening the bond between Shepard and Liara. Now we're going to watch what Liara strengthen her bond with Caden, while Caden's already flirting with her and has made comments about how, I got to her first, so why are you flirting with her, Shepard? No, I'm not still angry about that line, Caden. And then also sisterhood increase with Ashley, where they can start bonding and talking more because they share this mind meld. And it would be very interesting to see their relationships grow and deepen in ways that we currently don't in Mass Effect 1.
Man, and you just got me thinking about the romances too. Like, imagine you're trying to romance either Caden or Ashley, and they're like, sorry, Shepard, I'm kind of taken by Liara. Ouch.
And then you can't romance Liara either because she's totally into Ashley or Caden. And now Shepard's all alone in their room.
Wow. Yeah. I'm sure Shepard can find some way to spend the time. So let's also think about, okay, so past Pharos, past Novaria, past Therum, where we rescue Liara. If Shepard never had the vision of the beacon, and let's assume that Caden or Ashley could not make sense of it, no one ever did, because they weren't involved in the same sequence of events that Shepard was, with getting the vision translation from Liara and then the cipher and Liara's added knowledge from her own Prothean research. How would that have changed the story in terms of how hard Shepard was willing to fight to continue to go after Saren despite being grounded from the council?
Ooh. Because Shepard's main motivation for going through with all of it, by basically going completely rogue themselves and letting Anderson punch Eugenia and all that, is because of the threat of the Reapers. And we only truly and honestly believe in this threat because of seeing the Geth Dreadnought that didn't look like a Geth Dreadnought right at the beginning. And then because of our own interpretations of the beacon. If we had to fully rely and trust on what Ashley or Caden was telling us, would we still have that same level of drive? And I don't know. I guess it would really just depend on what your relationship was with them.
You know, given the sound file of the conversation between Benezia and Saren that Tali gives us in the very beginning, we would still get that, right? And so I feel like this would inherently change the game to become somewhat more of a detective thriller, where you're piecing things together along the way, and you still have no idea what the ultimate motivation is until Vermeer. And then I feel like that reveal of Sovereign would be even more shocking, but perhaps so shocking that it would feel like the last season of Lost. And it would feel like a weird kind of supernatural curveball where you're like, okay, that was too weird. That was too cheesy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Oh, but also talking about Vermeer brings up another good point. If one of them has touched the beacon, is there even a choice on who has to stay behind?
Oh man, what if you sacrifice the whichever one touched the beacon? Then where are you going with that? I mean,
yeah, how's your conversation with Vigil gonna go? Because the only reason that you talk to Vigil.
So yeah, do you even find Ilos?
Oh.
Like, that's so I feel like this story might actually just be dead in the water unless whoever touched the beacon
dead in the water.
Oh god. If you leave Caden dead in the water. The story might be dead in the water if you did not basically give plot armor to whoever touched the beacon.
Yeah.
So you would have to, and that would take away the Vermeer choice, right? So whoever didn't touch the beacon, let's say that something you did early on in the game influenced which one of them was going to touch the beacon. And then that predetermined who was going to die in Vermeer.
Ooh, okay. Either that, or now your choice is between like Tally and Garrus, or Rex and Garrus.
Oh man, that would be really hard. Yeah, actually, can you imagine how fervent Ashley would become in the confrontation with Rex if Ashley was the one who received the vision from the beacon? So, and then you just have to kind of decide who's going to live right there. Ashley's not backing down. Rex isn't backing down. What if it then becomes Shepard's decision about shooting Ashley or Rex? What if what if that's the choice right there? That would be crazy. So let's just assume, for the sake of argument, to progress the story through the game, that Kaidan or Ashley, whichever one received the vision, does survive Vermeer. Perhaps the other one does not. And then when you get to Ilos, Vigil doesn't talk to you.
Right, because Vigil eventually learns how to communicate using English, but is able to tell that these are the good guys because they've received all 3 steps: the beacon, the cipher, and then getting to Ilos itself. What if you didn't bring that squatty with you? I normally bring, like Garrus and Liara on that one. And so now I'm just not going to be able to talk to Vigil at all because my beacon holder's not there with me?
Yeah. And like, I'm still thinking too about, like, as the player, I'm thinking about playing through this game, right? And what is the sense of urgency in Mass Effect 1 that is driving me forward? And I feel like the sense of urgency is that we know with certainty if Saren accomplishes his goal and reaches the Citadel and, basically reverses the tweaks that the Prothean scientists did to the signal, allowing Sovereign to come in and commune with the Citadel. If Saren does all that, the galaxy dies. In this scenario where Shepard is not the one to receive the vision, and perhaps no one is, then the story then becomes, why is this Spectre just so obsessed with Prothean ruins?
I wonder if we would change in our minds to protecting the galaxy from the Geth, because that is what the story originally tells us, that these are all, it's a Geth dreadnought, it's Geth creations. Saren is leading an army of Geth. And so now I guess our motivation would switch to being, we are protecting the galaxy from a Geth recursion or an invasion. And then we would get the reveal that the Reapers are real and there is a Geth god out there that is going to be the one attacking.
Without Shepard, okay, so if Kaidan or Ashley received the vision, do you think that Anderson would be told about it, and would Anderson feel so adamant about it that Anderson would go to the lengths to coordinate the Alliance to be ready to attack Sovereign? Because it's through Anderson that it basically goes from Shepard to Anderson, Anderson to Hackett, I imagine, with the coordination of Alliance resources during the Battle of the Citadel. So
I guess it would be a lot of how Shepard feels, how much Shepard believes in the Reapers. How much do you believe the story that Ashley, Kaidan, Liara, a little bit of Tally, that everybody is telling you? How much do you believe in that story? Because if you came to Anderson and said, "This is what I believe in," Anderson is going to believe you because it is Shepard saying, this is something I have vetted. I am presenting to you, not necessarily because it was my own experiences, but I trust Ashley to be telling me the truth in this moment. I trust that Liara is interpreting it this way. I trust the cipher, the everything that has happened so far. If you presented Anderson with the same story, whether it was because it was your experience or somebody else's, I think Anderson would still believe you.
He probably would. That's just kind of like he's a good judge of character, right? But Shepard and Anderson have a father-son, father-daughter kind of relationship that Ashley and Anderson, that Caden and Anderson don't have. So I would wonder how that would go. But yeah, like you said, I think it would be really critical whether or not Shepard believed Caden or Ashley. But with that, we get to go over to the middle of the show, and I have a voice line to quiz you on, and we'll see if you get it. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back.
We have beef, we have bacon, we have beer. The foods of my people.
Young men have funny ideas of what Asari are like. I blame the extranet and computer games.
Rex?
Shepard.
Grunt?
Shepard.
Rex? Grunt?
All right, and here we are in the middle of the show. This is where we typically read out your 5-star reviews. You can leave those on Apple Podcasts. We also have been taking comments from Spotify, and it's been a few weeks since we actually read a Spotify one. I actually have one here in front of me from Caleb, who commented on the Lost Human Colony episode. Caleb says, "Great episode as always. I've been thinking about this question for a while. As a fan of the Leviathan DLC, how do you feel about the argument from fans who hate that DLC and say that it ruins the conversation with Sovereign, the mysterious eldritch nature of the Reapers, and that BioWare should not have tried to explain the unexplainable? I don't agree with these takes, but I felt the need to ask. Much love to the show, Caleb." And now I'm having like a stroke because I'm wondering if we actually already read that comment.
Maybe, but maybe. I'm not.
I definitely already read it because I check the comments on Spotify every now and then. But anyway, in the event that we did not, I think that it's a great DLC. It's my favorite. I don't think that it ruins the eldritch nature of the Reapers. In fact, I think it brings the story closer and it grounds the story closer to the science part of science fiction. And it leaves less to be fantasy like Star Wars. So I like that. Because I always liked the hard sci-fi aspects of Mass Effect, not the fantasy fiction ones.
Right. And I think it's because we talked to Peter Jessup about the Leviathan and everything like that. So maybe that's why you felt like we've had this conversation before. I like the Leviathan DLC. I think that there's so much lore and so much added info in it that it is so necessary. And it doesn't take away from that original Sovereign conversation from me at all. Even knowing that, okay, oh, wow, the alien had a beginning. It just gives me more drive because knowing that fucker had a beginning means I know he's got an ending and I'm coming for you.
Right, exactly. Hell yeah. We also have a comment from Bad Blood who says, "Cannot wait for the new game and TV series, and then I can keep ironing to the wonderful sound of you guys picking apart every new detail. Ironing my uniform just so we're clear this time." Keep up the good work. Thank you, Bad Blood. And we also have a voice line for you, Jennasis. Let's see if you can get this one. I have delved deep into the bowels of Mass Effect 2 to pull this line, and you would know right away that it's Mass Effect 2. That's not like a spoiler at all. So let's go ahead and play it a couple times.
I have other means to oppose this.
All right, I'll play it one more time.
I have other means to oppose this.
Oh, is that Grunt's daddy, Dr. O'Keefe? O'Keir?
It is not Warlord O'Keir.
Oh, damn.
I mean, it's close. You're close. You're on the right trail. You want to take another stab?
Oh, man. I don't feel like that is Rex. I mean, obviously a Krogan. You said it's Mass Effect 2. So it's somebody onto Chunka. Is it and I'll close my eye because I know that chat's already telling me the answer and I don't want to see it. Is it, the little nitwit who's arguing with Rex?
Uvenk?
Right. Yeah.
Yes. It is. It is.
Okay.
It is Uvenk. And this is during the conversation where you want to take a guess?
Oh, well, it's when they are talking about how Rex is trying to change all of the political landscape and wants to bring the clans together and all that.
Okay, that's very close, but no cigar. It was actually when you're talking with the shaman about Grunt's rite of passage.
Oh, okay. Yep.
So I think that was Uvenk, right? I think that they're not two separate Krogan. I'm pretty sure that was Uvenk. Or was it a separate Krogan who, like, never comes back?
I think he's the one that you get to headbutt, and I'm pretty sure that that's Uvenk.
Yeah, he is the one that you headbutt. All right, well, that was fun. Yes, chat was all over that one. Chat was all over that. So props to chat and props to you, listener, who may be listening to this at any point in the future. If you were screaming at your car stereo and you got it. So shout out to our new patron, Adina FXV, and our tier 5 patrons who get a shout out every week, including Butts, Unfortunate Benefactor, William, Superfly440, Redrobot, Lieutenant Tusino, Kira C, and Ed Boy. Thank you all so much for your continued support of the show. And with that, let's get back to the second half of the show.
After time adrift among open stars, along tides of light and through shoals of dust, I will return to where I began.
Solarian reproduction different, very little sex drive. If intended to try human, would try you. Ow, my pancreas.
So here we are in the second half of the show, and you know, Jennasis, while we were in that mid-break, the thought occurred to me that perhaps Shepard wouldn't be such a large target for Saren, for Sovereign, for anybody without the knowledge that the vision from the beacon gave them.
Oh, that's a very good point. Now your mission is more of protecting Ashley or Caden and keeping them safe in order to hold the knowledge rather than your squad supporting you through all of your fights and battles. You're really there as a protector role. And that could kind of change Shepard's personality.
Yeah, you're like basically becoming Joel from The Last of Us.
Yeah.
It's
my job to protect you.
It's Pedro Pascal as Shepard. So that would be quite the difference in dynamic for Shepard and Caden or Shepard and Ashley. And I also feel like you might get some threatening comments from Saren directed toward Caden or Ashley, whoever has the beacon, because Sovereign would be in Saren's ear.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think Sovereign would start to try and target Caden or Ashley for indoctrination?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely he would. And it would make it very interesting because, you know, we feel the direct threat from Sovereign, but if we're not the beacon holder, the threats aren't directly at us anymore. It's towards Ashley or Caden. And then depending on like, oh, that's my boyfriend, that's my girlfriend, it brings in a whole different layer of, of protection and wanting to be the one that makes sure that this person stays alive. Oh, I didn't think about that.
So let's, so a couple of different things could happen then. On Vermeer, Shepard, Caden, and Ashley are all there in very close proximity to Sovereign and Saren. it's already been established at multiple points throughout the trilogy that something about Shepard's mental fortitude protects them from indoctrination. That Caden and Ashley just don't have. So, or presumably don't have. Because you could also argue because they've been with Shepard on the Normandy in so many different situations, the whole crew must have some kind of profound mental fortitude. But the remarks are made specifically about Shepard's mental state. If Ashley or Caden doesn't have the same mental fortitude, what is the possibility then, with their knowledge of the vision and the beacon, that Saren or Sovereign successfully indoctrinates them?
And we wouldn't really know that because their personality changes. The things that we see the indoctrinated people going through, we could easily chalk that up to, oh, it's a side effect of touching the beacon. It's a side effect of gaining the cipher. It's a side effect of all of these things going on. More and more encounters with the Reapers is making it so that way they are just engrossed more into it. They're not indoctrinated. No. Nobody else on the ship is indoctrinated. Why would it be happening to them? I could very easily see a different indoctrination theory happening if it was somebody else touched the beacon.
They could start sabotaging the Normandy and no one would know, right? Like, what if they opened the airlock and just Joker is gone? Like,
but yeah.
They could essentially bring the Collector's ambush from the beginning of Mass Effect 2 into Mass Effect 1.
Yeah. And we know that Liara is so key in this. Instead of yeeting Joker, my first target would be getting rid of Liara, the Prothean expert, the only one who might be able to put up some form of logical defense against this. Liara would be my priority target.
Oh, man. Do you think Caden or Ashley could actually take her out in a fight? I don't know. For Mass Effect 3 Liara, could. Definitely not. But for Mass Effect 1 Liara, Caden probably could.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. And you know what? Nobody can throw a biotic shield while they're sleeping.
Evil Caden. Oh, man. Can you imagine Evil Caden?
That was Ashley in my mind.
Oh, I was imagining Evil Caden. Something similar. I'm like, there's a kind of a similar dynamic in my mind that I'm imagining Assassin's Creed Odyssey, where whichever the twins you didn't pick became, oh man, what was the name they gave the evil one? I forget, but yeah.
I didn't play Odyssey.
Anyway, that Evil Caden, in my mind, is actually a lot easier to fly under the radar because he's so on the surface calm and level-headed.
On the surface, he looks calm and ready.
What if the last thing he said before killing Liara was, "Can you feel that, Liara? The quickening?"
Oh, but see, I think that, yeah, I could very easily see either of them, because Hayden has so much trauma in his past that he could easily tap the indoctrination could easily tap into about how, the aliens are wrong. It was a Turian in your past who tortured you and your friends and destroyed your life for a while. And then with Ashley, it could very easily be, your family fought in wars against these people, and now you're cohabitating with them on a ship. Mm-hmm. Very easily, the indoctrination could bring out these character flaws even further. And it would just seem like personality progression, not necessarily indoctrination.
There's also a few moments in Mass Effect 1 where they lean heavily on the Normandy stealth systems, where if indoctrinated Caden or Ashley got a hold of the controls at the front, they could have screwed up the whole plan. Deactivated the stealth systems on the approach to Pharos, all of a sudden the Geth know they're there and the Normandy gets torn apart.
Mm-hmm. Or stopped Tally on her mini loyalty mission where you're gathering all this intel on the Geth to send back to the fleet. And then now these people have access to so much information. You know, in Mass Effect 2, I don't know how it would change the dynamic of whether Ashley or Kaidan would become a part of the Normandy crew in 2, saying that they survived the end of the game. But, you know, no human had stepped foot on Tuchanka before. And so now we're giving an indoctrinated person access to Tuchanka. We're giving them access to the Quarian fleet. We're doing all these things, and we wouldn't know.
So let's assume, for the sake of argument, that somehow Shepard and the crew survive Mass Effect 1. They stop Saren. They're all pretty surprised, minus Kaidan or Ashley, whoever received the beacon. They're all pretty surprised on Vermeer about that revelation with Sovereign. But Shepard is not sold because it could have been some cheap smoke and mirror, right? Because Shepard, again, never experienced the vision, never experienced that. But they survive Mass Effect 1. They stop Saren and Sovereign. They know that something's wrong. They still don't really trust Kaidan / Ashley, or maybe indoctrinated Kaidan / Ashley never made it. Mass Effect 2 rolls around, and there's either no surviving knowledge of the beacon, or the surviving knowledge of the beacon is not with Shepard. Do the Collectors still ambush the Normandy?
That is a great question. I think that they would. Well, that's only if the beacon holder was still on the Normandy. That's the only reason that I would think that they would do that. Because, well, yes, Shepard is a threat because they are a badass and obviously fought in the Citadel War, but
the Collectors wouldn't risk exposing themselves just going after any random war hero.
True. I think the beacon holder would have to still be on the ship.
Right, and
in
would
order
they?
For that to make sense.
Would they remain under Shepard's command if Shepard did not trust them fully about the beacon? Or perhaps they might leave and join up with a little organization dedicated to chasing the alien threat.
Oh, thinking about an evil Vermeer survivor joining Cerberus changes so much. Oh, and would that in turn make Shepard more receptive to Cerberus? Because if you were romancing Ashley and all of a sudden she's there saying Cerberus has been great since you've been gone, come join back with us. Joker's here. Your ship is here. Come with me, Shepard. There's no way you're saying no.
Oh, I don't know. I would still be very skeptical about, everything that had happened, and I just still have to trust her about this vision or the beacon. And this is also assuming that she's indoctrinated. What if she's not? Like, what if somehow the plot armor transferred to whoever received the beacon, they never got indoctrinated, but they got sick and tired of the Alliance slow dragging their feet on the Reaper threat? That without Shepard pushing that envelope, the Alliance never took it seriously. Shepard became the Spectre, not them. So they didn't have the leeway to pursue the leads of the Reaper threat that Shepard did. They would get sick of it and perhaps quit and join up with an organization more sympathetic. An organization where the head of that organization was well aware of the Reaper threat because of the Collectors. So I can imagine the Illusive Man working day and night to recruit Kaidan or Ashley had they received that vision.
Mm-hmm. I could see it working either way. either they're indoctrinated and so therefore will fall in line with the Illusive Man because indoctrination is telling them to, or because they need the support in order to chase down the Reapers and the Illusive Man is giving it.
Yeah. That would be, oh man, can you imagine the mind fuck of like, you're Shepard, you had no idea that this happened to Caden or Ashley. You were never dead for 2 years, but for whatever reason, maybe they time jump. You know what I mean? Time jump a year, time jump 2 years while you're chasing down Remnant Geth. And then all of a sudden, you find that Ashley / Caden left the Alliance not just to go seek some like respite, but they joined up with Cerberus. And now they are one of the leading antagonists, because without the revival, I would argue without the Collectors attacking the Normandy, without the necessity of Cerberus reviving Shepard, Shepard is not going to trust Cerberus. There's no olive branch. There's no goodwill there. All Shepard has witnessed about Cerberus was everything that you saw in Mass Effect 1, which was all heinous.
It would take a lot more, and maybe maybe the carrot is Ashley or Caden, going, hey, join Cerberus, we can pool resources. They actually want to continue this fight against the Reapers while the Council is telling you that it's a non-existent threat. And now the basis of 2 is kind of seeing if we believe what the Illusive Man is telling us, that the Reapers truly are coming.
On a positive side, what if Shepard was able to leverage this into, okay, I don't trust Cerberus, I don't trust the Illusive Man, however, I have looked into the Collectors, I've asked Liara to look into the Collectors, it turns out they are abducting human colonies. We really do need to investigate this. And Shepard pushes that up the chain of command in the Alliance, maybe gets nowhere with the Council, but the Alliance is willing to give Shepard some resources to go and pursue it.
Because the Alliance would be more sympathetic to human colonies being attacked rather than the Council as a whole. Yeah.
And Shepard could very well take the spot of the Vermeer survivor on Horizon in protecting that colony.
Oh. Oh, yeah. Oh, that makes it so... Oh, that scene is so juicy and hurtful. It would be very interesting to see it being played out on the other side of it, where, Caden or Ashley fly down trying to help and assist rescuing the colony, and now you're face to face with them again, knowing that they are on the Cerberus side.
Do you think Shepard is going to be receptive to this idea that Reapers are still a threat when all they've seen is this vision that led the Vermeer survivor down a dark path and ultimately to join Cerberus?
Well, I mean, the fact that we see the Sovereign manifestation on Vermeer, and then we see the physical frickin' Reaper showing up at the Citadel. And we also see it when we first touch down on the very first planet. And so it's like, I think that Shepard would be more receptive to the fact that the Reaper attack is a real thing. It could also just be like, oh, well, the Reaper was one Reaper and we killed it. It's fine. It's done. It's over.
Right. There again, because Liara possibly didn't translate the vision and relay what she knew about the Prothean disappearance to the crew of the Normandy. Because that's a possibility that never happened, then there's no understanding of the greater doom at play.
Mm-hmm.
That there might not be any lingering, sword of Damocles over the head of the galaxy. But still a problem that the Collectors are waging a war on humanity. I feel like this would still set the stage for tension between humanity, between the Alliance and the Council. The Council not willing to divert any resources to going and protecting human colonies, and yet Shepard is going and seeing humans abducted left and right, possibly even running into James on Fel Prime.
That would be nice. I would love that just from the storyline aspect of it. Let me see him before we get introduced to a new character in 3. And because, yeah, that would change things for Vega's storyline as well. You know, Shepard is not necessarily doing all the things, you know, it's like, and so Vega's storyline would be different as well. And then Liara wouldn't have cheated on us with Farron, you know, not having to go and rescue Shepard's body. Would Liara be the shadow broker?
Well, first of all, is it? I don't think it's confirmed that Liara slept with Farron. I agree that it definitely seems like it, but I don't think it's confirmed. But second of all, yeah, I don't know. Would Liara have become the shadow broker because she wouldn't have had that entire detour about getting Shepard's body and then all of that? So all of the events of, what is that, Mass Effect Redemption? Is that, yeah, that's Redemption. So yeah, all of that wouldn't have happened. So I don't know if Liara would have become the shadow broker. Meaning, yeah, wow. And also the intel that leads Shepard and the crew of the Normandy SR2 in Mass Effect 2, that intel that leads them to the quote-unquote desolate Reaper husk to get the IFF through the Omega-4 relay. All of that intel is coming through the Illusive Man.
Mm-hmm.
How would we get that intel if we were not with Cerberus?
Yeah, we wouldn't. Either that or we would be assigned to hunting down Ashley or Caden because they're out there doing all this crazy shit with Cerberus. And so now we've got to go and try and stop them. Make
it a cat and mouse game.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really interesting. Another like Catch Me If You Can kind of game where you are under the pretense or the thought process of, I need to stop this other rogue agent, but it turns out they're not actually rogue. They're just working with Cerberus. So that would be a really interesting suicide mission. Like, is a suicide mission happening, but Shepard's not part of it? Does Shepard ever get to meet Morden? Does Shepard ever get to meet Grunt? Does Shepard ever get to meet Legion or, you know, Zaid or Kasumi or any of this, because they don't have the same freedom of movement and operations that came with joining Cerberus?
Oh, all of those squad mates, save Tally and Garrison Rex. You know, those are the ones that we know from Mass Effect 1. Everybody else would have been recruited by the Vermeer survivor from the Illusive Man, because it was Timmy Boy that gave us all of these people. We didn't go out and just randomly find them. So I think our squad would be different.
And there's a lot of problems that arise with the squad of the SR2 that is really only solved by Shepard's leadership and charismatic abilities. You know, Jack and Miranda. Not just Jack and Miranda, but Legion and Tally, right? Is Tally even there? I don't know. There could be other problems. So I think that the most likely scenario in that case is the Vermeer survivor goes through the Omega-4 relay with their Cerberus crew and never comes back. And perhaps they successfully, you know, destroy the collector base, but they just never come back.
I would agree, because you have to build up the loyalty of everybody in order to survive that, to get all of the ship upgrades and everything that's required to safely maneuver it. And you have to have Joker as your pilot. Like, Joker is one of the only few pilots capable of making that jump because of how good he is on the Normandy. And that's another question. Would Joker be with Shepard or be with the Vermeer survivor?
Nah, Joker would stay with Shepard 100%.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that Joker would leave. So, as much as Joker likes to joke about his cushy chair in the SR2, that's not why he joined Cerberus, you know?
Yeah.
So I think that leaves us kind of blindsided come Mass Effect 3. That It's been like 3 years since the Battle of the Citadel, and Shepard hasn't really seen any definitive evidence of the Reapers. Shepard was never there to notice that the Collectors are genetically modified Protheans. Shepard was never there to see a lot of the different connections that the Illusive Man makes, drawing the Collectors to the Reapers. So
Would the Batarians still be alive?
Oh, that's a great question. No, they wouldn't, because even if you don't do that DLC, Hackett sends his own team to do it. So that's my argument there, that Shepard doesn't even need to be involved.
Would Shepard wouldn't have gotten arrested then? Shepard wouldn't be on Earth during the attack.
Shepard would not be on Earth during the attack. Shepard would not have been spending time in prison getting soft around the edges. Wow, yeah. So then, do you think Anderson would have survived the attack? Well, Anderson wouldn't have been there because Anderson was only there for the tribunal, kind of the court-martial hearing. So, yeah, I think Anderson would still be either the ambassador or the assistant to the ambassador. Well, maybe not, because Anderson could have very well still taken part in the events of Mass Effect Ascension and Retribution. So all of that could have been happening in the background. Perhaps Anderson would have even requested Shepard's help, considering that Shepard never left the Alliance.
Yep.
And Shepard would have been tracking down that rogue Vermeer survivor with Cerberus. Wow. So a lot of things would have been different come Mass Effect 3. And there would have been no I told you so from Shepard to the Council in Mass Effect 3.
Right. We are shocked right alongside them.
Yeah. Like maximum surprise. And also, and here's the really terrifying part. I'm thinking about Mars right after the leaving Earth mission. Has Liara done any groundwork for the Crucible? Has she even began researching anything on in the Mars archives? You know, because she would not have become the Shadow Broker, I think. Because Shepard's body, that whole thing never led her to that. So she would have never, I think, discovered the blueprints in the Mars archives. I think maybe there's a little bit of an argument I think you can make to say that she would have out of academic curiosity, considering that was still her specialty, researching Prothean archaeology. But I think it's a much smaller likelihood.
The only thing that I could present would be if we are basing the fact that Shepard and Liara's relationship is so strong based on the multiple mind melds, she would have that same level of bond with either Ashley or Caden. And if Ashley or Caden were the reason that the Collectors attacked, then maybe Liara had gone on a mission to save Ashley's body, to save Caden's body. And so therefore a lot of the things could still have happened. But as it stands in our little scenario, in our little scenario here, I don't think that Liara would have furthered her research. Her research was on Protheans, not the Reapers. And yes, she could have gone to the Mars archives if she had found out some way that this is somewhere where she could get her hands on more Prothean data. But that's a very slight chance.
You know, speaking of that, I think that the only way that... Because, okay, so you think about no Mars archives, no Crucible, that's it. Like, right? The galaxy doesn't survive the Reaper invasion. The only way I think that galaxy could possibly survive, or just, I'm not going to say the only way. There's other possible scenarios, but one scenario I'm thinking about, the way that the galaxy could survive without Shepard having the vision, without the Vermeer survivor having the vision either them being alive past Mass Effect 2, or perhaps they were indoctrinated and never made it past Mass Effect 1, or perhaps they just aren't there for whatever reason. So the only scenario I can think of right now in which the galaxy is still saved in that cycle is if Liara becomes this Shepard. Like, Liara would have to perhaps stumble upon mission reports of conversations with Vigil and glean some kind of data from Vigil's VI. She would already have the knowledge of the previous cycles. She would already be able to connect, oh, wait, the legend of the Reapers might be real, considering Sovereign and what she's already researched come Mass Effect 1 about the Protheans. She might find the plans on Mars coincidentally that way, and then take it perhaps, and get this, she could perhaps take it to the Illusive Man first instead of the Alliance, instead of Shepard, depending purely on what her relationship was like with the Vermeer survivor or whoever received the vision of the beacon.
I agree. And in this scenario, we're also kind of forgetting about the fact that Liara has all the same information that the beacon toucher does. And Liara's received all of that. So she would also have that same level of the Reapers are real, the Reapers are coming, that the beacon toucher had. So she would, I think, go out and try to find more information on them. So I think she would have gone to the Mars archives and figured it out. Right.
Yeah. Perhaps that would lead her to leave the crew of the Normandy after Mass Effect 1 and kind of go do her own thing. And I can imagine if she dug deep enough in that regard, eventually she would come across a Shadow Broker agent or the Shadow Broker thugs in some regard. So yeah, I think maybe this would make, okay, if you're one of those people like me who's kind of sick of how much plot armor Liara has and how much of a writer's pet she is, I feel like having Shepard never touch the beacon would only reinforce or exacerbate her importance to stopping the Reapers.
Yeah. Yeah, because she's one of the primary forces doing the work. Well, in this case, Shepard's not dead, but she's still out there continuing on the work, even if they're not around to help her.
And that's even assuming that she gets the vision from the Vermeer survivor. Like, if it's Ashley doesn't trust aliens. So, you know what I mean? So okay, so without that little transfer right there, or let's assume that maybe the person who gets the beacon doesn't survive getting the vision from the beacon. So without that, Shepard doesn't understand the threat, never communicates it to the council, so the council can never take it seriously, even behind the scenes. And that means Liara, it also means Liara never understood the vision, so she never decoded Prothean history the way that she did. The conduit was never found, possibly. Even if it was, the Crucible is never completed. Very likely never completed. And I just see multiple scenarios in which the Reapers either win in Mass Effect 1 or win in Mass Effect 3. And so I feel like the beacon is the ultimate kind of beginning to a domino effect in this series.
If Shepard never touches the beacon, the Reapers win the cycle.
Bwong.
Bwong.
Yeah, I feel like it had to be Shepard. Someone else might have gotten it wrong.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. And with that, we're about an hour right now. I feel like we could probably go on talking about this with a corkboard conspiracy thing with red yarn behind us for hours.
Oh yeah, for sure. Because we didn't talk about how the squad mates would be interacting with each other and who would be on what side. And, are we team Vermeer or are we team Shepard? And who would we meet up with? would there be more than the Dirty Dozen in Mass Effect 2? And then, there's so much more we can get into.
And Javik. We didn't even bring up Javik.
Oh, gosh. Javik is a whole different story. Would we even find him? Why would we go looking for him?
Liara would find him first.
Exactly.
So, yeah, wow. I mean, there's so many different angles you could take with this one that we just don't have time to get into. But I hope that this kind of like ignited some kind of thought processes and conversation among some of the people listening.
I really like this What If series. We'll have to do some more of these coming up in 2026.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just around the corner.
Oh my gosh, yeah, just a few weeks away. So with that being said, we will be covering more of these what if scenarios. I think probably the best way to do this would be to like separate our lore episodes and character episodes with a what if one every now and then, because if we just do what if after what if, that gets kind of stale. So I think maybe we'll do one once a month. Not going to commit to that. We'll just do one whenever we kind of think of an idea that's worth covering, I think. But yeah, I very much enjoyed this.
I have too. And if you have a what if that you would like us to cover, leave it in the comments of this episode on Spotify or hit us up on the Discord and just be like, we'll start a running document of the what if suggestions from the listeners, because you guys come up with crazy ideas that I would never think of.
Yeah. And look, Retrobot in chat just sent one, so we'll have to start that document right now. Retrobot says, what if Shepard did not encounter the Rachni Queen in Mass Effect 1? Oh, man. All right, we could have some fun with that one. But that's all we got for this week, Spectres. Jennasis, you got anything you'd like to share?
Yeah, I have my 2 other shows, The Two Girls, One Ship, which is currently on hiatus for the month of December. All of our old catalog is still up on Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts, but we are not producing anything new until the Patreon chat at the end of the year. But we are coming back strong in January of 26. You can also catch me on the Cyberpunk Lorecast, where we explore the foundations of the past, the state of Night City today, and the news of the future for all things cyberpunk.
Nice. Yes, go check those out. And also look up, I guess there's some news about a cyberpunk trading card game that I'm super into Magic the Gathering. I'm definitely going to check that out, and I'll love to listen to whatever the Cyberpunk Lorecast has to say about it. So I am streaming when I can. Definitely interested in streaming some more single-player games. I've been streaming some Baldur's Gate, streaming Sharon Shepard that we do on Thursdays. That one's on the Mass Effect Lorecast Twitch. And I've been streaming some other games like Morrowind. I've been super into Morrowind and Oblivion lately. And yeah, so if you want to catch any of my personal streams, go over, follow me on Twitch at N7 Legend. I've got a Blue Sky account as well. And you can also catch us again every Thursday for Sharon Shepard's right now. That is on the Mass Effect Lorecast Twitch. So until next time, Spectres, we should go. Take care.